first story behind mansion walls. A family flushed with success
He was determined to be one of the rising stars in Nashville.
is struck down by tragedy.
It very much was one of the big unsolved mysteries for a long, long time.
And later,
It was like two magnets pulling towards each other, and it seemed like nothing could ever tear them apart.
a lifelong love affair and a deathbed revelation.
I kept asking him, who shot you, Danny? Danny, who shot you?
Danny, who shot you?
I'm Christopher Mason. Love is a many splendid thing. And when you're courted with caviar, Caribbean holidays, and 24-karat gold, that splendor can seem all the more magnificent. But even the wealthy may discover love is a luxury you simply can't afford if you have a bankrupt heart.
In a grand Nashville mansion, a prominent family gathers for the birthday of their cherished son and grandson. But there's a pall over today's party. The birthday boy's mother isn't here.
People disappear all the time, but this one sort of made a lot of waves.
She left on vacation 10 days ago, and no one's heard from her since.
I think the feeling was, from the very beginning, that something bad had happened to Janet.
Nashville in 1996 is a southern city on the rise. Music City, USA is starting to dance to the beat of big business. It's the perfect place for ambitious attorney Perry March and his stunning wife, Janet.
I think Perry was considered a rising star in terms of attorneys. He had several cases that he was highly successful at, and I think he was determined to be one of the rising stars in Nashville.
And they live amongst the stars in affluent Forest Hills, a favorite hideaway for country music singers. The Marches aren't hiding their wealth. They build a 5,000 square foot mansion.
They built a beautiful dream home that Janet had designed herself.
Janet's artistic flair goes way beyond designing her dream palace. She's also an established artist and illustrator. Janet Levine fell in love with Perry March in college in Michigan. The couple marries and settles back in her hometown in Tennessee.
That's a good thing. No, it's interesting. Makes it.
Moving to the Deep South is a move up the social ladder for Chicago-born Perry. He's tapped into one of Nashville's most influential families.
Among the Jewish community here in Nashville, I think they sort of carry a lot of weight.
Janet's father, Larry, is a heavy hitter in the legal fraternity.
He's a prominent attorney and a very well-respected one.
Larry wants his son-in-law to follow in his footsteps, paying Perry's way through a prestigious law school.
He treated Perry as his own son, and he took care of him financially. He helped him go through Vanderbilt Law School, and they were a very close-knit family, and they loved him just like they would their son.
In late August 1996, Janet's parents arrive at the March mansion for their grandson's birthday party. Perry's father, Arthur, has also flown in from Mexico. Someone who hasn't flown in is Janet March. She went to California 10 days ago, but was due back long before this party.
She'd planned this, sent out invitations and everything else. And when she didn't return for that, I think there was great concern at that time.
Missing her son's birthday is totally out of character for this mother of two.
They just said, you know, she's either really had a psychological break because she's not acting anywhere normal like she did when she would leave her children because she cared so much about them.
Exactly 2 weeks after she's last seen, Perry and Janet's parents report her missing to Nashville police. Detectives ask Perry exactly what happened the day Janet left home.
We need some space. We know this is not working.
He admits they were going through a rough patch.
I've got other plans, okay?
Are you going somewhere?
He said there was an argument on the August the 15th, and she just got fed up with him.
Janet decides she needs a break. With her typical attention to detail, she leaves a list of chores for her husband entitled Janet's 12-day vacation.
In fact, I would like to sign it.
And he was not very good at running errands and paying bills, so she left him a typed out to-do list and said she was going on vacation.
And she just typed up that note and basically said, see ya.
See ya.
She had just up and left, and he didn't know what had happened to her.
Has Janet March simply left her husband? Perhaps she wrote the list of chores to help Perry kickstart his life without her. But that doesn't explain why she hasn't contacted anyone.
She had a very good relationship with the mom, and they would speak every single day.
A week later, investigators catch their first break. Janet's late model sedan is found abandoned at an apartment complex just a few miles from her home.
There were some sandals placed in the car. Her pocketbook was still in the car, which would indicate if she'd been grabbed from the car or abducted in some way, since her purse was still there.
Not only her purse, but her passport and a packed suitcase. Why did Janet park at this apartment building? Was she visiting someone here? Investigators go door to door, but find no links with Janet March.
We had no knowledge that she knew anybody. We never were able to put any contacts with her. There was no reason for her to be there.
Has the former prom queen been abducted and her car abandoned? Or is it something worse? This missing persons case is looking more and more like murder.
I think the strongest possibility was that she's obviously dead, or someone had kidnapped her and was holding her hostage for some unknown reason.
The lack of evidence makes cops wonder if Janet is the victim of a professional hit. As an attorney, Perry often deals with the underbelly of Nashville. Has he crossed a criminal who now wants revenge?
We looked at that angle, the possibility that he had some of these enemies, the possibility that some of those people that he was in business with as their attorney, maybe they were somehow involved in Janet's disappearance.
The Levines are a high-profile family in this city. So Nashville police search around the clock to find their missing daughter. They scour the woods near where her car was found. Using cadaver dogs, ground-penetrating radar, and helicopters with heat-seeking equipment. They come up empty-handed. One way or another, Janet March has vanished off the face of the earth.
They just couldn't find her, and then she had just flat disappeared.
Usually, the only thing to stop Music City in its tracks is a rollicking Saturday night performance at the Grand Ole Opry. But in the summer of 1996, the daughter of a powerful Nashville family disappears, and the city is buzzing with questions. Has the high society Southern belle been kidnapped, killed, or did Janet March simply decide not to stand by her man?
As the weeks turn into months since Janet left home, investigators rule out an underworld hit. But they chase down hundreds of other leads.
You get a lot of information, you get a lot of leads that come in. There may be a body here, there may be a body there. She may have been sighted at this location. We even had people calling in saying she was seen alive in this state or seen alive in that state.
Alive or dead, the story of the missing daughter from a prominent Nashville family grips the nation.
There was a lot of heavy media coverage in terms of why would someone like Janet just leave and leave her 2 children behind.
But investigators know the odds of finding Janet alive are getting slimmer with each passing day.
To fact that she could have just taken off on her own with no financial help from anybody and been living somewhere was very remote at the time. Of course, there were no ransom demands. Logically, when a person's kidnapped, it's from a rich family, there'd be ransom demands, and there were no such demands that were made in this case.
4 years after her disappearance, a Tennessee court declares Janet March legally dead. The mystery is shelved for another 2 years. Until Pat Postiglione from Nashville's cold case unit picks up the file.
Motto of a cold case unit nationwide is, never give up, and that's certainly the case here.
As they sift through the evidence, Sergeant Postiglione and his team find a lot of unresolved questions.
I made a list of chores for you.
Like the note Janet wrote to Perry the day she left. To her parents, Larry and Carolyn Levine, that list just doesn't look right.
When Janet typed, she didn't use capital letters to start sentences, and this note had capital letters.
Written different, it wasn't her style, according to friends and family.
So who typed the list? And when? Police will never know. When they searched the March mansion after Janet went missing, the computer had been sabotaged.
The only item that was missing was a hard drive out of that very same computer that the note allegedly was written on.
What detectives didn't find in Janet's car is also puzzling. There was her passport and purse, but no toothbrush, deodorant, or underwear for her trip away. To her mother, Carolyn, it looks like a bag a man would pack. Perry might be able to shed some light on it, but he's not here. The grieving husband has moved to Mexico with their 2 children.
He's out of the country, so he's impossible to reach. He's impossible to communicate with in terms of any questions we may have regarding Janet.
Perry's not talking to cops, but others in Nashville's well-to-do circles are. They say the society couple's marriage was fractured.
This is horrible.
We agreed that I would be able to spend some time doing this.
And at what point are you going to realize it is a waste of time?
It sounds as if they, sort of had a stormy relationship, sort of from the get-go.
You okay?
No.
By the summer of 1996,
Always waiting for you.
the cracks in their relationship were growing too big to fix. Janet had started planning a divorce.
I've got other plans, okay?
Well, what are the plans? Are you going somewhere?
She was supposed to meet with a divorce attorney actually the very next day, August 16th, 1996.
The day after his wife disappeared. Then, a check of Perry's past employers unearths a scandalous secret. Back in 1991, the prosperous attorney was fired from his law firm for sending sexually explicit notes to an attractive intern.
There was this very attractive paralegal that worked close by him, and she started getting these letters from this mystery person, with very sexually explicit type letters explaining what he would like to do.
The law firm catches Perry red-handed, using hidden cameras.
And he was accused of and actually videotaped writing letters with sexual content to a particular intern. They caught Perry actually doing it, so he agreed for some sort of money compensation, possibly $30,000.
Perry apologizes and agrees to pay the compensation in installments. But his remorse doesn't stop him from frequenting Nashville's gentlemen's clubs. That sort of behavior doesn't go unnoticed in the buckle of the Bible Belt.
Plenty of people were very free with their remarks about his past and prior bad acts.
It looks like the high-profile lawyer enjoyed a lowbrow second life.
And he's quite arrogant to, a sort of staggering degree. Very often convinced that he's the smartest person in the room.
Perry never told his wife why he left his previous job. But cops believe Janet discovered the steamy letters
You kept this from me all this time. I knew it. I knew it.
And on August 15th, 1996, she confronts her husband about his shameful secret.
I think she confronted him with that on the 15th. Of course, she was going to see her attorney on the 16th.
Was the couple's argument that night more violent than Perry claimed? That still doesn't explain why Janet's car was left abandoned miles from their home. Until a witness comes forward, telling police he saw a man near Janet's abandoned car the night she disappeared. He was pushing a bicycle through the apartment parking lot.
Perry March was an avid bike rider. So he would have a mountain bike, and that's the type of bike that was being pushed through the parking lot.
The witness later identifies the man from a press photo as Perry March.
That was an extraordinary break in the case when this person came forward.
In December 2004, Perry March is indicted for second-degree murder. But without a body and the smoking gun of hard forensic evidence, detectives are running on gut instinct.
It was a purely circumstantial case.
We haven't heard from her in days, you know. It's not like...
Not only is he under suspicion for murder, Perry's in-laws have been carrying out their own investigation. They say Perry March had skimmed off more than $20,000 in legal fees when he worked at Larry Levine's blue-chip law practice.
So he's basically siphoning money from the Levine law firm that they were entitled to.
No.
First, they have to get him out of Mexico. It takes another 8 months. But Perry March is finally extradited back to the U.S. on an unrelated charge.
And there were some problems with his visa. So at that time, the FBI was able to hire some people who just grabbed Perry off the street.
March is locked up in a Nashville cell to await trial, where he makes friends with a resident convict. And when he asks his fellow prisoner a favor, it blows the investigation wide open.
I'll give you their home address.
Behind prison walls in Nashville, 2 inmates are hatching a plan. Well-to-do attorney Perry March has been arrested for murdering his wife, Janet. As he awaits trial from behind bars, Perry makes a deal with a fellow prisoner.
I'm gonna give you their home address.
Perry will post the inmate's $300,000 bond. In return, Perry wants a small favor.
Perry actually tried to recruit him to kill his in-laws.
He's wanting me to get out and kill the Levines.
The Levines had always treated Perry like a son. Now he's planning to sacrifice them both to save his own skin.
In Perry's mind, he felt if his in-laws were killed, they would increase his chances of being acquitted at the murder trial.
But Perry's picked the wrong guy. This con has already snitched to the cops. And now he's wearing a wire and recording every word of their deal.
We got a lot of very damning tapes on Mr. March giving exact instructions on how to kill the Levines, where they lived.
Why would somebody who didn't kill his wife, why in the world would he want to kill their parents? So you would have that additional evidence on top of what we already had. So in my mind, that sealed the deal right there.
The snitch also allows detectives to record his phone calls. And they reveal another player in this murder plot. Perry's father, Arthur March, living down in Mexico.
Hello? Is this Colonel? Yes, you just tell me what you want, how you want it done, and it'll get done.
He told him about how to get a gun and that he would be welcome there. And as soon as he killed him, he could come down and stay with him, and painted what a great life he had in Mexico. But
Arthur and Perry March are about to be outconned. The informant calls Arthur to say he's murdered the Levines and is winging his way to Mexico. Except he's not on the flight.
They staged a release where they transferred him to another facility so that Perry's father, Arthur, would be under the impression that he had been out, and Perry would be under the impression that he was no longer incarcerated.
In a complicated sting, the cops make it look and sound like the informant is fleeing across the border.
We set the stage to make Arthur think that he was actually in Houston and was going to fly to Guadalajara. And we even used sound effects of airplanes to make it sound like he was in an airport, when in fact he was actually in my office. Sure enough, Arthur went to the airport to pick him up, and we had the FBI at the airport waiting for Arthur.
The retired Army colonel knows the game is up. In return for a reduced sentence, Arthur March agrees to testify against his son. In August 2006, almost a decade to the day since she disappeared, Perry goes on trial for his wife Janet's murder.
You know, people all over the country were either watching it on the internet or it was done live here.
In video testimony, his father reveals what really took place on August 15th, 1996.
You have been keeping this from me all this time. I knew that there was a reason that you left there. I knew that there was a reason you didn't tell me. You are a liar.
Janet confronts her husband about the sexual harassment case and their crumbling marriage.
You are a joke.
I am a joke. You are a joke. This is an embarrassment to the family.
Well, Arthur said that Perry told him that he and Janet got into an argument.
It's look at me when I'm talking to you. Look at me when I'm talking to you. You can't even look at me, can you?
And he picked up a wrench.
You are an absolute animal. I cannot believe that you have done this.
And killed her.
Perry hurriedly cleans up the murder scene. He wraps his wife's body in a trash bag and buries it in a nearby vacant lot. The attorney then goes about setting up his alibi, packing a suitcase for his wife's vacation. He even types up Janet's supposed list of chores. Perry abandons her car at the apartment building to make it look like an attempted abduction, then cycles home.
He felt the best way out was to kill Janet and come up with this elaborate scheme about her leaving.
A few days later, Perry calls his father in Mexico with a problem. The problem is the spot he buried his wife's body. It's about to become a construction site, and he's worried Janet will be unearthed. He needs his father's help to move the body. Arthur agrees to help.
They found the body based on Perry's instructions. He took the body down, they put it in the trunk of their Volvo. They drove up to Kentucky.
Arthur reburies Janet's body 60 miles away in a brush pile.
Arthur gave us all the information. He even took us up to areas in Kentucky and tried to show us the best he could to where he thought he put Janet's body.
But a decade later, Arthur can't remember exactly where he buried the body. And police never find Janet March.
I spent a lot of time in Kentucky with Arthur and the detectives as we looked at where he disposed of Janet's body, although we never really got the exact location because it was done at night.
We believe the first pile was probably burned and no one had any idea that Janet's body was in there. The fact that you never were able to locate the body of the victim, I think that type of thing does stick with you. Hopefully one day we'll be able to do that, but so far we haven't.
For 10 years, Perry March thought he'd gotten away with murder. In the end, his own father betrayed him.
Having Arthur March testify, via tape against Perry may not have been the death knell, but it certainly didn't help. And I think that was a major, major win for the prosecution.
On September 6th, 2006, Perry March is found guilty of second-degree murder. and later sentenced to 56 years in prison. He's also convicted of conspiring to kill Janet's parents.
He never showed any emotion, but we didn't really expect him to. I've never actually seen him show any real emotion, ever.
Perry has never admitted exactly what happened to Janet that night, even for the sake of his children.
Their mom is gone. They never had the opportunity to say goodbye. Her body has never been recovered. Perry has never told them the truth and will never tell them the truth, so they're kind of left hanging out there. He's just a number in the Tennessee Department of Corrections system, where he'll be for the next 56 years, and we're perfectly fine with that.
If he hadn't hatched the plan to kill his wife's parents, Perry March might still be sipping margaritas in Mexico. But a bankrupt heart is a barren place. Poets have compared marriage to a garden. It needs constant tending, or pernicious weeds can take hold, and something darker and more sinister blooms.
When you've made it big in Texas, you drive a big car, boast an extensive gun collection, and live in a home of Ben-Hur proportions. You also expect a garden fit for a king. For Danny and Charlene Hill, trimming the hedges of Houston's high-class homes has turned their gardening business into a veritable money tree.
Their landscaping business was very successful. In fact, they were bringing in millions.
But it wasn't always this easy.
Charlene and Danny did not have a lot when they first got married, but they were both determined and hard workers. And before you knew it, they were building up a fortune.
By the early 2000s, the Hills have left Struggle Street for a mansion on the boulevards of upscale Pecan Grove.
They lived in a nice part of town. They drove nice cars. They had nice furniture.
That's it, Jane. Come on.
And very nice guns. Danny Hill spends much of his hard-earned wealth on weapons.
Danny was very keen on hunting. There wasn't much that could turn his head any quicker than a new hunting rifle.
The only other thing that can turn Danny's head is his wife, Charlene.
When Danny and Charlene first met, it was like two magnets pulling towards each other, and it seemed like nothing could ever tear them apart.
20 years working hand in hand to build their landscape and storage empire has forged seemingly unbreakable bonds.
They worked very hard and loved each other dearly. They'd accumulated a lot of assets and cash. She had 3 lovely children, a beautiful home. What more could she possibly want?
Just one thing. In 2006, after their 25th wedding anniversary, Charlene and Danny make plans to retire to a ranch in the Texas Hill Country. But their dreams disappear in a heartbeat on the night of November 14th.
911 call came in. There was a shooting at a residence in the Pecan Grove subdivision.
The caller is a woman, and she sounds distraught.
You're not hurt. You're okay.
Fort Bend County Sheriff's Deputy Jose Trevino races to the Hills Pecan Grove mansion.
I was the second unit to arrive on the scene.
Trevino heads upstairs to the master bedroom to find Danny Hill lying in a pool of blood.
I could tell he was in pain. He had blood in his shirt. I couldn't see where he was shot, just in the stomach area.
Danny has been shot 3 times. As emergency crews battle to save his life, Danny is still conscious. Deputy Trevino makes a split-second decision.
And I asked him several times, "Who shot you, Danny?"
Danny, who shot you?
Behind his oxygen mask, the dying man struggles to talk.
Get that mask off, please, ma'am. I need to talk to you. Danny, who shot you? Danny, who shot you? Who shot you? Who shot you?
A multi-millionaire gardener is not something you encounter every day. Texan tree trimmer Danny Hill has been prospering mightily with his own version of a hedge fund. But 3 bullets have put an end to all that. As his life ebbs away, Danny is desperately trying to tell cops who shot him. Should be an open and shut case. Except in Texas, everything is usually bigger, including the truth.
Please, please, please.
In the Pecan Grove mansion, paramedics are losing the battle to save Danny's life.
EMS was already on location as well. They were working on Danny inside the bedroom. They had an oxygen mask on him. As I was going into the residence, I activated my recorder. It was an audio cassette recorder.
As police standard procedure, the Fort Bend County deputy records the scene.
Danny, who shot you? Danny, who shot you?
And Danny Hill identified his shooter that night there in the bedroom where he was shot, and it was captured on tape.
Who shot you? Who shot you?
I kept asking him, who shot you, Danny? Danny, who shot you?
Danny, who shot you?
So I asked EMS to remove the mask.
Take it off. Who shot me? Who shot you? Who shot you? Who shot you, Danny? Danny, who shot you?
Danny's reply is barely a whisper.
My wife.
And I asked him again, I said, Danny, your wife shot you? And he nodded yes.
Danny, your wife shot you.
A few hours later, Danny is dead. His last words are a damning indictment. Charlene Hill is arrested and charged with murder. But why would a loving wife of 25 years gun down her husband?
She was crying, she was upset, she was shaking.
A distraught Charlene tells detectives she had no choice. Danny was about to attack her.
She claimed it was self-defense. She said she was afraid for her life. She thought he was going to kill her.
Seems the Hills' fairy tale marriage was not so sturdy. More like a rotten door waiting to be kicked in.
From the outside, everyone thought that they had a good marriage.
I know how to shoot a gun.
But Charlene and Danny were hiding some dark secrets.
You don't know how to do it. That's the problem. You don't know how to do it.
Local folk know Danny has a mean streak a mile wide. As his marriage went on, it just got wider.
That's when he started using his physical power and his emotional power over his wife to turn her life into a total misery.
Tuck it into your shoulder.
Stop interrupting. Look, I'm doing it.
It was fight all the time. It was the Hatfields and the McCoys in their house.
Tuck it into your shoulder. Look in and squeeze the trigger.
The smallest thing would set Danny off, like Charlene buying the wrong barbecue steaks.
Right?
She didn't buy the steaks thick enough.
Unfortunately for her, they were only 1.5 inches thick, not the 2-inch thick ones that Danny expected. He wasn't about to let her get away with it.
Just give it to me, okay? Just listen to me when I talk to you, all right?
Charlene and all the women hid under a picnic table while the men held off Danny. Even their friends saw a lot of the violence that he was capable of.
You want to know what to do? You think this is a game? You think this is a toy?
The petite mother of 3 is no match for her 6'3" husband. Charlene says she's endured years of mental and physical abuse.
She would run into the bathroom and lock the door, and he would come in there and rape her. And he was telling one friend that he thought she liked it.
Despite a litany of 911 calls and hospital visits over the years, Charlene refuses to press charges.
Like many battered women, she was told that if she left, he would kill her. He would find her and he would kill her. And she believed he could do it.
What strip you holding in my shoes?
But what was even worse, he threatened to kill her children. And to protect their lives, she wasn't about to leave.
The children are no strangers to their father's violence.
Tuck it, shut up! Tuck it in your shoulder, tuck it in!
Jeremy went to the hospital after one of the assaults that involved his father hurting his mother to be with her and to help take care of her.
They'd seen him knock their mother around. They'd seen the damage that he could do.
Don't do this. Stop it. Get out.
When Charlene threatens to leave, Danny takes his reign of terror to a whole new level.
Her worst experience was the day he tied her to a chair
Danny, what are you doing? Stop it.
and poured lighter fluid all over her body.
I'm gonna teach you a lesson.
No, please.
He stood there with a lighter, taunting her, telling her, if you ever leave me, I will kill you and I will kill your children. He left her sitting in that chair all night long.
The way Charlene tells it, the night of November 14th, 2006, starts with a call from Danny's brother.
And so the brother called Charlene and said, you know, I just want to warn you, Daddy's on his way home and he's in a rage.
Charlene said, I know exactly how to handle this situation. I will calm him down with his favorite meal. So she prepared chicken and dumplings.
I swear to God, I will shoot him. It's my storage unit.
But when Danny got home, there was no calming him down. He was beside himself.
They began to argue. The argument kind of moved around the house a little bit and ended up in the bedroom.
I made them smash it for you. Could at least.
Will you shut up?
Danny's rage reaches boiling point, and Charlene knows what he's capable of.
Had you, I had everyone up to here. I swear, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
She did the only thing that came to mind. She pulled out her Glock and laid it on the bed. She said, just stay away from me. Don't make me use this.
Don't make me use this.
We're gonna have a shootout now, is it? Is that it?
Even without a gun, she thinks Danny is a lethal weapon.
According to Charlene, that's when he started moving towards her. He was the biggest, he was the baddest. He figured at any shootout he'd win. He didn't count on Charlene firing first.
Charlene called 911 and stated that she'd shot her husband.
The 911, what's your emergency?
The police analyzed the case at first, and to them it seemed obvious. This was a battered woman who had been controlled, abused, belittled, and knocked around for quite some time. It seemed to them that there was no question about it. It looked like self-defense.
A clear-cut case of justifiable homicide, Texas style. That is, until Charlene's children come forward with a very different story.
Charlene's children turned on her.
Danny and Charlene Hill had been in a serious motorcycle crash 3 years earlier. Their children say that crash turned Danny's life around.
During that motorcycle accident, Danny's personality had changed. He had a traumatic brain injury. Due to that injury, his violence had basically evaporated. It wasn't there anymore.
Danny was no longer a violent man.
He transformed since the accident. He turned into a big pussycat. He was just a wonderful guy. He'd calmed all down.
Charlene was also badly hurt in the crash.
Charlene's leg was permanently damaged, and from then on, she walked with a limp.
While Danny became a pussycat, the kids say their mom turned into a tigress.
I wouldn't trust you around any guns. You probably shoot your foot.
After enduring years of torment,
Oh, okay.
Charlene became the tormentor.
You're such a loser. I've had it with you.
Charlene was just nasty to Danny, that she was always egging him on, trying to stir up his anger, as if she wanted to make him go over the edge.
Investigators wonder if Charlene's claim of self-defense is all a lie.
My impression of Charlene Hill is that she wasn't truthful, that she was trying to get out of trouble by saying things that didn't happen and making Danny out to be a person that night that he wasn't.
Fort Bend County folk await a courtroom showdown as a mother and her children prepare to go head-to-head, and the verdict will shock them all. In the fall of 2009, Charlene Hill is on trial for the murder of her multimillionaire husband, Danny, 3 years earlier. Charlene claims she killed Danny in self-defense, but 2 of her children testify against their mother in court.
They took the stand in the courtroom and pointed their fingers in her direction.
They claim Charlene was the aggressor that night.
I wouldn't trust you around any guns. You probably shoot your foot.
To get up in front of the world and testify that she was an awful human being who shot this man on purpose. It had to have been a devastating blow to Charlene.
Fort Bend County Assistant District Attorneys Chad Bridges and Jill Stotts build their case against Charlene Hill. They argue she planned to kill her husband that night in 2006. For starters, she'd recently bought the murder weapon.
Charlene had purchased the handgun a month before the murder.
The prosecution believes Danny's death wasn't triggered by abuse, but by greed. When she bought the gun, Charlene transferred a big chunk of cash into her own coffers.
She moved $1 million out of a joint account and into her personal account.
But in the end, prosecutors say it's the bullets that mattered. Forensic testing shatters Charlene's story of self-defense.
She stated that Danny was coming at her when she shot him. The forensics showed that that couldn't have been the case.
They don't indicate that he was coming straight at her. They indicate he was walking away.
The first 2 shots sever Danny's spinal cord, paralyzing him. He's not going anywhere, and Charlene shoots him a 3rd time.
God, no! No!
And they said the way it entered the body was indicative of the fact that he was down on the ground and Charlene stood over top of him and fired.
There are multiple entry and exit wounds on Danny Hill's body, but there were 3 gunshots that passed through him, and the 3rd shot made it murder.
But is it enough to convince a jury? After deliberating for 2 days, the jury is deadlocked, 11-1.
I'm gonna teach you this.
A lone juror can't get past Danny's history of domestic abuse.
They said they were not going to be able to reach a decision. Finally, the judge declared a mistrial.
2 years later, in 2011, Charlene Hill is tried a 2nd time.
But the jury was out for a couple of days and still no decision. The prosecutors were worried it was going to end in a mistrial again.
So the prosecutors offer Charlene a remarkable deal. If she pleads guilty to murder, she'll get a 10-year deferred sentence, probation, and a fine. But she won't have to spend a day in prison.
We did that because we believed that was the appropriate sentence for her. Given her history, the fact that Danny probably had been abusive towards her in the past.
It was a difficult decision for Charlene, but her freedom was in the balance, and she did it.
Just as the deal is struck, word comes back from the jury. They've reached a verdict.
And the judge had a choice to make. Did he let them come into the courtroom and deliver their verdict, or did he just accept the deal? He went with the deal.
The jury had found her guilty.
And Charlene, by the breadth of a hair, escaped conviction and prison time.
The guilty verdict would have meant a mandatory jail term. Charlene Hill has just escaped anything from 5 years to life behind bars.
And she was free to lead her life on the outside.
There's one catch. Charlene must admit to murder.
She had to get up in front of the judge and admit that this was not self-defense, in addition to pleading guilty.
Fort Bend County locals like Bev Carter believe Texas justice has been served.
To be real honest, probably it was a fair result because she should have killed him 20 years ago. She should have hit him on the head with a skillet.
There is no perfect solution to these cases. There is nothing that can bring those kids' father back. There is nothing that can undo all the history that had occurred up to that night, the good, the bad, or any of it. But we did the best we could to come to a just conclusion.
Charlene Hill might now be free to enjoy her husband's multi-million-dollar estate. But if she ever claims self-defense, she could find herself behind bars for the rest of her life. With hearts devoid of love and eyes keenly focused on the money, these killers viewed their loved ones as liabilities. Perry March murdered his wife to maintain his place in polite Southern society. And Charlene Hill thought a shootout would solve her marital woes. Till Death Us Do Part takes on a whole new meaning for a lover with a bankrupt heart. Till next we meet behind mansion walls, I'm Christopher Mason.
In our first story, Behind Mansion Walls, a doting son.
Do not contact the authorities. Do not get the FBI involved.
Becomes a kidnapper's meal ticket.
He knew we had access to some large amounts of cash.
And later, a greedy hand reaches from the underworld.
Basically making a living smuggling heroin into the country.
Dragging a wealthy family into the darkness.
The body was so badly decomposed that identification had to be done by fingerprints.
I'm Christopher Mason. The Protestant work ethic suggests that hard work is the path to prosperity and a ticket to heaven. But some who decide to take the shortcut to riches will surely find themselves at the burning gates of hell when they kill for cash.
April 2008, wealthy businessman Tom Wiles checks his email and sees a message about his son, Robert.
At first, I thought it was a joke.
But this is no April Fool's prank.
It said that Robert had been kidnapped.
Basically, it was a ransom email. It said, you will get your son back if you give us $750,000.
When most of us fly, we buy a ticket on someone else's plane. When the rich fly, they don't need a ticket. They take their own jet. Keeping those private planes in the air is big business.
Thank you very much.
No one knows that better than Tom and Pamela Wiles.
Hi, Pam.
They own this multi-million-dollar company, National Flight Services, with locations all around the country.
Primary business is the maintenance business of airplanes, primarily general aviation airplanes. So it encompasses everything from flight schools to charter airplanes.
They've built their aviation business from the ground up. And now they're flying with the big boys.
They had a lot of money, and it was a very well-established company.
The rising star of National Flight Services is their son, Robert.
Robert was a good man. Was accomplished in most things that he did.
The software update, the fantastic. It's all sorted.
I think it was assumed that someday he was going to take over the company.
Rob helps run the company's Florida branch in Lakeland, just outside of Tampa. Living close to the Gulf of Mexico is the perfect life for the 26-year-old outdoorsman.
Robert Wiles was this young, athletic guy, loved to fish, loved to be on the water.
He was quite good at it, and he would get in his little 21-foot boat and go out 35 miles offshore and get some of the biggest fish I've ever seen.
On April 1st, 2008,
Yeah, what's happening?
Robert Wiles is working late in his office at Lakeland Airport. As the boss's son, he wants to set a good example by putting in extra hours.
He was kind of getting a pretty good background in the business. He actually works in the parts department and sales support and things like that.
Robert is still at work around 6:30 p.m., according to the firm's operations manager, Toby Holt. But after that, Robert vanishes. 2 days later, Robert's father, Tom Wiles, gets the ransom email.
They signed it to Group X. They wanted $750,000.
Part of that letter said, whatever you do, do not contact the authorities. Do not get the FBI involved.
Do not call the police. Do not tell anybody. Do not let anybody know what's going on.
Tom Wiles ignores the kidnappers and calls the police.
It's really not a good idea for somebody to try to handle it on their own.
Jim Orr is an FBI special agent assigned to the Robert Wiles kidnapping case.
The FBI has a lot of experience working kidnapping cases, and we have a pretty good track record as far as safely retrieving people where that's possible.
The Wiles family is in good hands. These investigators don't flinch when it comes to hunting down a good lead.
What's been going on in the victim's life? Have they been acting strangely lately? Have there been any unusual incidents involving them?
The FBI wants to know where Robert has been and who he's been associating with. The answers span half the globe.
Robert was dealing with customers in Thailand, in Colombia, in Jordan, in the Middle East.
There are countries like that where it's pretty common to kidnap people for ransom, and once they get paid, they let them go.
And that's exactly why National Flight Services took out kidnapping insurance.
We were doing more traveling in South America, Central America. I wanted to be sure that we had sufficient ransom money to get our people back.
That insurance policy is worth $750,000. Exactly the same amount as the ransom demand. Inside knowledge, or just a coincidence? It gives the FBI food for thought. Robert Wiles' international business connections are keeping investigators busy. But the real clues to this mystery are turning up much closer to home.
Robert had told his barber that he was unhappy with his life.
At the time he disappeared, Robert Wiles was having a crisis.
I know Robert was not terribly happy at that particular time.
His dreams lie at the wheel of a fishing charter boat out in the sun, not in an office. Has this adventure seeker decided to fake his own disappearance?
On rare occasions, kidnappings are faked. One of those things that has to be established is this a legitimate kidnapping as opposed to a farce?
Robert's father, Tom, won't believe that theory for a minute.
I don't understand that. None of that really squares with anything that I knew. Robert was, number one, a very sincere, honest man. Loyalty was a big thing with Robert.
There's another possibility.
Unfortunately, sometimes family members or other people close to the victim are involved in these things. So we have to, through investigation, eliminate them as suspects.
Robert's father finds himself under scrutiny by the FBI and doesn't like it one bit.
They didn't exempt anybody. I mean, I was on their suspect list for quite some time, to the point where I got very angry with the FBI.
The FBI soon learns that Tom's marriage isn't as solid as people thought.
He's a chip off the old block, isn't he?
He and Pam have separated. And just a short time before Robert disappears, Tom gives his wife a large sum of money.
And I gave her $750,000.
And there's that figure again, $750,000.
So it was very interesting figure that was exactly the amount of money that was demanded in order to get their son back.
Just another coincidence? Or is Tom faking the kidnapping to get the cash back from his wife as ransom for their son? Tom Wiles says the payment is for the family's financial security.
It's not a separation agreement. She just said, I want you to leave enough money here so that we, and she specified we, would not be broke if the company went down the tube.
While the FBI looks into the wheelings and dealings of the Wiles family, another suspect emerges.
Eventually, they turned to an employee, Stephen Lindsay. He was fired from NFS. He had a drinking problem. He didn't get along that well with Mr. Wiles.
Steve was trying to come back to work at National Flight, but I would not hire him back until he was clean for 2 years.
Steve has hit hard times since being fired, but he has a plan to get back in business, partnering National Flight Services with another company. Robert Wiles was going to make that plan happen.
Steve liked Robert, and Robert looked at Steve as a guy who could help him bring in more business, and Robert was trying to get him rehired.
But Steve's problems with the booze still have the better of him. So Tom Wiles shuts the plan down.
We cannot have anybody in our employee in the aviation industry, especially rebuilding engines, who has a reputation for being an alcoholic.
I can't go through with it, I'm sorry.
Steve Lindsay is shattered. His life is in ruins. And he swears he will get revenge.
Steve became a suspect because Steve could not account for his time when Robert went missing.
A weak alibi and a strong motive. It's a combination that puts Steve Lindsay squarely in the sights of the FBI. Problem is, when they go to round him up for more questioning.
They couldn't find him. He was nowhere to be found.
Being the child of a millionaire confers many benefits, but consider the costs. To a kidnapper's eyes, you become a walking target for easy cash. They know any parent will pay for the safe return of their child. It's just that wealthy parents can pay so much more.
When businessman Tom Wiles gets a ransom demand for his son Robert, he has only one instinct: pay the money.
Tom wanted to pay it, because Tom wanted to do whatever he could to get his son back.
How am I supposed to do it? It's my son. I cannot afford to lose my son.
But Tom soon finds himself a suspect. He's separated from his wife, and she's costing him money. Maybe he wants her to pay the ransom. That's not the only theory in the FBI's notebooks. Did his missing son fake his disappearance to escape the family business? Or was a disgruntled alcoholic former employee out for revenge?
Tom is gonna pay.
The FBI has a warning. Whoever is behind this is not to be taken lightly.
It's an aggressive crime, and it takes a certain amount of aggression and confidence to carry out that kind of crime where you're going to take someone against their will. It's high risk, even more so than murdering somebody.
The kidnappers have an odd request. They want the money delivered to Robert's office at Lakeland Airport, Florida.
The deadline was April the 8th, and we had a box in place in Robert's office by the 8th.
Whoever comes to get that cash will be walking right into an FBI trap. SWAT teams are at the ready, and the money has been switched with coffee.
They figured out exactly how much $750,000 weighs, and then they put coffee in a suitcase instead of the money.
The FBI needs a trusted insider to help with the sting. Tom Wiles has a loyal worker in mind.
Toby.
I suggested Toby Holt because he had unlimited access to all aspects of the business.
Toby Holt was a trusted employee. He was the operations manager. He was kind of brought into the inner circle, if you will, from the FBI's perspective, and kind of helped orchestrate this and helped keep watch on that.
The April 8th ransom deadline comes and goes.
Minutes went by, hours went by, I think a week went by. No one ever came. No one touched it.
There was never a contact made by any of the kidnappers after the original note. And we never heard another word.
For a desperately worried father, it's a bad sign.
I expected the worst when we didn't hear from kidnappers.
At this stage, Tom Wiles is no longer a suspect in his son's disappearance. Former employee Steve Lindsay is also scratched off the suspect list when he turns up in the Caribbean. Investigators are at a dead end. Then they take a look at Robert Wiles' cell phone activity.
And they realized something isn't quite right with the phone records.
The night that Tom receives the ransom email, Robert's cell phone is active near a toll booth on Florida's Pulk Parkway. Tom is brought in to help review CCTV tapes. And there, amongst the hours of footage, he spots a familiar vehicle.
The FBI took me down to the Lakeland Police Department, and I observed a car that I thought was Toby's car coming through that toll booth, and it turned out it was.
Toby Holt, Tom's most trusted employee. It doesn't add up.
There was this picture of Toby Holt holding a phone up to his head, but his phone, when they looked at the records, was not being used.
Toby Holt says he isn't on a phone at all. He's just taking a sip of soda.
So it was very strange. So that's when they really started to dig into Toby's past and into Toby's whereabouts the night Robert disappeared.
For Tom Wiles, it's an aha moment.
I was very surprised. Up to that point, I had not made any connection to Toby with respect to Robert's disappearance.
But now it all makes sense.
Bro. What's happening now? Not much.
Toby and Robert often clashed at work.
Chasing up that weekend. What's happening with that shipment? I don't know. I asked you to sort it out, didn't I? I'm sick of this. I'm sick of you.
Their working relationship was not good. Toby would not share information with Robert.
You can go to hell, Rob. Go to hell.
Toby wanted to take the company in one direction. Robert kind of had a different thought in mind for the company. And I think Toby felt that maybe he's not as qualified and it's probably not best for the company.
Only weeks ago, Toby Holt had been helping the FBI with their sting operation. Now, he's feeling the heat.
Toby Holt had claimed several different alibis for the night of Robert's disappearance, none of which could be proved.
He said he visited with a mistress. He said he went to a restaurant, and there was no surveillance footage of him going to these establishments, and there was no records, there was no receipts.
Then the FBI asks to search his car.
He said, there's nothing in his car, go ahead and search it. They dig around in one of the compartments, and they find a handgun.
The optics are bad for Toby Holt, but it's not enough evidence for an arrest. And the whereabouts of Robert Wiles remains a mystery.
When it comes to recovering a victim of a kidnapping alive, time is of the essence. More time passes, the more opportunity the kidnapper has to remove the victim farther away from the abduction site, to hide the victim, to secure the victim, to cover their tracks, destroy evidence.
March 2009, nearly a year after Robert's disappearance. The FBI brings in some fresh pairs of eyes to take a look at the case. They discovered that Toby Holt went shopping the night Robert went missing.
They said he went to Home Depot and got some duct tape and got a plastic bag.
And they uncover new traces of Holt's cell phone activity.
They realized that everywhere that Toby Holt went, so did Robert's cell phone.
Maybe Toby really was on a phone in that toll booth picture. Robert Wiles' cell phone. So if Toby had Robert's cell phone with him for 3 days after his disappearance, where was Robert?
Well, there's no way that Toby Holt could have Robert's telephone 3 days after he disappeared and not be involved.
Almost a year after his kidnapping, the family of Robert Wiles has lost hope of seeing him alive again. But there is still some hope of seeing justice. In December 2009, Robert's co-worker, Toby Holt, is arrested.
He flew into Orlando International Airport, and police were there to take him into custody right away. And he said he was caught by surprise.
Toby Holt is indicted for extortion, kidnapping, and murder. For Robert Wiles' father, Tom, it's a bolt out of the blue. Could one of his most trusted workers have kidnapped his son?
I was surprised when he emerged as the #1 suspect. I did not put those two together.
As his trial begins, Toby Holt is adamant he didn't do it. And proving his guilt will be a challenge.
There was no body, there was no smoking gun, so they were relying on this web of circumstantial evidence.
But the circumstances are compelling. Toby Holt was the last person to see Robert Wiles alive. His alibis for that evening have no evidence to back them up. But one thing he did do that night was buy 2 rolls of duct tape and a box of plastic sheeting. The prosecution says that was for wrapping and dumping a body.
It was never clearly painted out how Toby Holt killed Robert Wiles, but the prosecution made it pretty clear that he had about 5 hours the night Robert Wiles disappeared, and they believe he took care of business.
Did he use the gun he had hidden in his car? Nobody knows. Prosecutors argue he did have a motive to use it.
Listen, man, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of you.
Toby Holt butted heads with Robert Wiles at work.
We can go to hell now. Go to hell.
He wanted the boss's son out of the picture.
I believe he was very jealous of Robert. I believe that he felt that Robert was throwing him under the bus, so to speak, and had every intention of taking his job.
And at the heart of it all is greed. Toby Holt also wants to score a payday. The answer is kidnapping.
I'm sure that he targeted our family because he knew we had access to some large amounts of cash.
There's a crucial piece of evidence that Holt has no answer for. For 3 days after he disappeared, why was the cell phone of Robert Wiles always in the same place as Toby Holt?
The most damning evidence was the cell phone trace.
It was crucial evidence that Toby Holt's phone and Robert's phone followed the same path that night.
Television news reporter Ryan Raish covered the Holt trial. And sitting in court, he felt the prosecution's circumstantial case build day by day.
You know, most people felt that Toby Holt did it, but it was so much was relying on all this circumstantial evidence. And of course, without having a body, a big question was, okay, well, can they do it? Can they prove that he actually not only killed Robert Wiles, but also was responsible for the kidnapping and the ransom note and everything else that he was charged with?
But the complicated evidence about cell phone towers is a clincher. Everywhere that Robert Wiles' phone went, so did Toby Holt's.
You know, there was no clear explanation. Okay, how could that happen if you did not have his phone and yet you were following the same path that his phone was following? I think if I was in that jury, I would say, wow.
Toby's involvement also explains why the dummy ransom package was never collected.
Because Toby knew that the FBI was involved is the reason that we never heard another word from the kidnappers. He would have been a fool to touch that box.
As the trial progresses, one thing begins to stand out. Toby Holt looks very confident of his innocence.
I mean, this was a guy who was calm and collected and almost nonchalant. It certainly did not look like a man who thought he was going to be sentenced to life or sentenced to 30 years. It seemed like he thought, okay, they have the wrong guy, I'm going to get away with this and move on with my life. He was so calm and so nonchalant, it was surprising.
On March 12, 2012, Toby Holt learns his fate.
The verdict was that he was guilty of extortion and manslaughter and was sentenced to serve 30 years in jail.
He got up and said, you know, I'm sorry, Pam and Tom, that you don't have your son, but I didn't do it.
Unfortunately, there are times where you never have a total resolution to a kidnapping. The victim's never recovered, a body's never found. It's obviously very difficult for anyone to lose a loved one, but I think it's even harder on a family where they don't know for sure and they can't have any kind of closure.
Robert Wiles' body has never been found. And Toby Holt certainly isn't telling. It's the unknown that haunts Tom Wiles and his family the most.
We believe he's somewhere in the Lakeland area. We don't know where else to look. You know, we know Robert's not coming back. But I'd really like to know where he is. I want to bring my boy home.
Losing a son is tragic. Never being able to bury him, unbearable. It reminds me of another mystery on the other side of the Atlantic, where a family's great prosperity threw them into the path of a monster.
In the dead of night, during a bitter English winter, a strange meeting occurs in the shadows of Stonehenge. Some believe this mysterious prehistoric site is an ancient cemetery. And tonight, death will once again shroud these sacred stones. In London, England, proud parents Anil and Nancy Chauhan are celebrating the arrival of their second child. Nancy's mother has just arrived from India, bearing gifts for her new grandson.
You know, when your papa and I got married, you wore one exactly the same. This is a little bit sad.
She came over on sort of quite extended holidays to sort of look after the children and see the family.
Anil immigrated to England a decade ago with dreams of prosperity. He married the much younger Nancy in 2000.
He was very happy with her, and he had two very young children, Devinder and Ravinder.
Anil's dreams of prosperity hang on his thriving import-export business called Seba Freight. He's making a mint supplying fresh produce from the world's most far-flung corners.
I think certainly some of their business was based around the more exotic fruits and vegetables.
His customers range from Michelin star chefs to posh housewives. And the more exotic their tastes become, the more he cashes in.
It's fair to say that he was quite a wealthy man. He clearly was a businessman with a certain amount of acumen.
While he's worth millions, Anil's management style is casual. He even wears sweats around the office instead of a suit.
He wasn't particularly ostentatious or flashy, and he didn't display his wealth as openly as others in his position.
As profits pour in and his young family prospers, Anil's future appears to be getting brighter by the moment. Until February 13th, 2003, when his wife Nancy says he doesn't return home from work.
Nancy had become concerned about the whereabouts of Anil, so she had constantly contacted Seba in an effort to find out where he was.
A deal? No, that's all right. Thank you.
Nancy is told he went to a meeting out by Stonehenge.
He told his staff that there were some men that were interested in buying the company and that he was going to enter into negotiations with them.
I'm off to do a deal.
The next day, Anil still hasn't shown up. Anil's associate Kenneth Regan stops by. He's a businessman working with Anil to secure a land deal.
Nancy Chauhan knew Kenneth Regan, so she had daily contact with him. She'd known him from work.
So you've been worried about him, have you?
He hasn't called all day.
Oh, he left a message.
Oh.
Here, on my phone.
Kenneth Regan assures Nancy that everything's okay.
That's the one.
He plays a voicemail message from Anil.
Tell Nancy I'm okay. I'll be home tomorrow.
She relaxes a little and goes back to her new baby. But life will not return to normal for Nancy Chauhan. 24 hours later, Nancy, her mother, and her 2 young boys go missing. An entire family with a fortune in the millions has just disappeared.
Adjusting to a new culture in a foreign land isn't for everyone. When the entire Chauhan family quits London to return to India, onlookers seem to accept that English life just wasn't their cup of tea. And for one man in their circle, that homesickness for Mother India provides an unexpected windfall.
Kenneth Regan has always liked the look of Anil Chauhan's business, and now it has just fallen into his lap. He's the new boss of Seba Freight.
Anil's gone back to India. I didn't like it anymore.
Mr. Regan had turned up in Chauhan's freight warehouse, and he produced this piece of paper, which was a power of attorney, which had appeared to have been signed by Mr. Chauhan.
Kenneth Regan informs the staff that their old boss has moved back to India. And now he's in charge.
Anil Chauhan was a very lackadaisical boss, from what I can gather. So people at Seba wouldn't have found it too unusual, I don't think, when Kenneth Regan turned around and said, this is what's happened.
So all the drivers and all the workers were basically, OK, Mr. Chauhan's gone, we're supposed to follow this guy now.
While his old employees don't seem to miss him, Anil Chauhan's wife, Nancy, is being missed.
Nancy had a routine whereby she would speak to her brother, Onka Verma, who lived in New Zealand, on a regular basis.
Onka Verma became increasingly worried about his sister.
Onka Verma was unable to contact Nancy, so he then made inquiries at Seba Freight.
Nancy's brother Onkar has Anil's power of attorney documents faxed to him, and they just don't look right.
The signature at the bottom of the supposed power of attorney was a mere squiggle and was nothing like the genuine signature of Anil Chauhan.
That squiggle is enough to get him on a plane to London. 2 weeks after his sister's disappearance, he walks through her front door.
The place looked as if it had just been walked out of.
Food was half prepared in the kitchen.
Ketchup bottles on the table and food in the cupboards. It was very mysterious.
This is not the home of a family who has moved overseas. Where are Anil and Nancy, Nancy's mother, and their 2 little boys, Ravinder and Devinder? Onkar then finds something very troubling.
His mother, Chandrika, she had left her holy book behind. She was a very devout follower, and as a result of which she would have always had that with her.
Why would this very religious woman leave behind this Sikh holy book if she was joining the rest of her family, you know, living abroad?
Onkar Verma gets on the phone to Scotland Yard and makes a plea. Find my sister and her family. Detectives start digging into the Chauhan's affairs.
You do background checks on the family, if they're using their credit cards, if they're using money, how they're living.
But no one has touched their bank accounts. It's time to start looking at the potential enemies.
It could have been anything. It could have been a family feud. It could have been to do with his business. Anil Chauhan had in the past sort of fallen foul of the law. He'd been prosecuted and convicted and even spent some time in jail for tax evasion.
Anil has another secret. Some of his fruit and vegetable imports are getting a little too exotic.
Rumours surfaced that the company, Seba Freight, had been involved in the import and export of a substance called cat.
Cat is a narcotic shrub grown in Africa. When chewed, it gives users a high, similar to cocaine. Its legality is a gray area.
It's legal to import it to the UK, but it's, however, illegal to export it to the USA.
Because of the nature of Anil Chauhan's business, it would have been perfectly feasible for him to be involved in the movement of CAD.
And it was suggested that perhaps Anil had fallen foul of rival importers, and this was why he had disappeared.
Dabbling in the black market always comes with a risk. Has Anil pushed too far and paid the ultimate price? Detectives look to SEBA's newly minted manager, Kenneth Regan, for answers.
The story was from Regan. Chauhan had decided to just leave the country, maybe partly under pressure from these cat exporter people.
He said that Anil had looked for a false passport, he's looking to leave the country.
The lead sounds promising. Until just after Easter.
Parcel tape had been wrapped around his face, covering his nose and mouth.
The dead body of Anil Chauhan is found floating off the south coast of England.
The body was so badly decomposed that identification had to be done by fingerprints.
And hidden on his body, a secret that will expose the evil at the heart of this case. In January 2003, London businessman Anil Chauhan is busy running SEBA Freight, a multi-million-dollar import-export company. In February, he doesn't return from a mysterious late-night meeting. And in April, his cold, dead body is found in the sea off the coast of England.
We had circumstances that are unusual leading up to his death, and it then became a legitimate murder investigation.
And with Anil Chauhan dead, police hold grave fears for his wife, her mother, and their 2 young boys, all missing. Just as Anil's body is identified, detectives get a new lead. They race to the country estate of a manager recently employed in Anil Chauhan's freight business.
That there'd been some activity in one of her fields where men had been digging up part of the field with diggers.
As police sift through the soil, they find something.
There was jewellery found in the ditch.
It looks like a mass grave, but the bodies are missing.
They found evidence under the soil that bodies had been interred there, and there was a partial DNA profile belonging to Anil Chauhan.
Where is the rest of the Chauhan family? The owner of the field has a name for the police. The man who did the digging was SEBA Freight's new boss, Kenneth Regan. Regan had dug the field with 2 friends, Peter Reese and William Hornsey. When police come knocking on their doors, they've all flown the coop.
They both travelled by ferry to France and disappeared.
It doesn't take long to discover that Kenneth Regan has a dark, violent past.
Kenneth Regan had a criminal background, and he had previously served a significant term of imprisonment for drug importation offences.
Kenneth Regan was basically making a living smuggling heroin into the country.
Kenneth Regan will stop at nothing to get what he wants. He visited Nancy Chauhan the day after her husband went missing. Did her suspicions drive him to take the most drastic step of all? Murder an entire family. Kill 2 babies, ages 18 months and 4 weeks. While Regan's on the run in Europe, bodies begin to wash ashore back in England.
They were those of Nancy and her mother. Nancy's body was discovered by fishermen very close to the Isle of Wight, and in fact not very much at all remained.
In September 2003, police find and arrest Kenneth Regan and his henchmen.
All three pleaded not guilty to the offences right from the outset.
In November 2004, the trio goes on trial for murder in London's Old Bailey Criminal Court. They claim a drug smuggling gang forced them to dump the bodies of the Chauhan family. The truth is somewhat different.
What we do know is that Anil Chauhan was called to and attended the meeting with Kenneth Regan at Stonehenge in February 2003.
Kenneth, what is this? You've had your chance. Now we're going to do things out. I'm not doing this deal.
Subsequently, he was abducted, held captive by Regan at his address, and forced to sign various documentation, police believe including the power of attorney.
Over several days, Anil Chauhan is tortured by Regan and his henchmen.
How about now? No.
Eventually, Anil is broken. He signs over power of attorney and then records the voicemail to Nancy.
Tell Nancy I'm okay. I'll be home tomorrow.
Good, that's better.
The voicemail to Nancy was in English, which was unusual because they spoke to each other in Punjabi normally. Anil Chauhan was a very intelligent man. I've got no doubt at all the fact that he left the message in English was part of his way of trying to get across that something was wrong.
Anil Chauhan knows he's about to die, so he makes a final heroic move in the hope his killers will one day face justice.
He found a piece of paper somewhere within that house and decided to conceal it on himself.
He seized the note and folded it and put it in his sock. And he was subsequently murdered.
Anil Chauhan is dead, but Kenneth Regan doesn't want any loose ends. To tie them up, he's prepared to murder the entire Chauhan family and bury them in a field.
I was never able to prove that all the family were in there. The only body I could prove was in there was Anil Chauhan's. But I find it inconceivable that they dug a grave the size they did do and buried the rest of the family elsewhere.
But the bodies don't stay buried for long.
Due to police activity, Regan got spooked and exhumed all 5 bodies again, and then transported them to the south coast, where by boat they were dumped in the sea.
Kenneth Regan was driven by one thing: cold-hearted greed.
Regan's motive for the deaths of these 5 members of this family are purely financial gain.
An import-export business is the perfect cover for a drug smuggler. Anil Chauhan's company was Regan's shortcut to the criminal good life.
He wanted a front business. His plan was to take over this company and use it to smuggle drugs, mainly from Spain.
Costing over $15 million, the trial is one of the longest and most expensive in English history. And the clinching piece of evidence comes from a desperate father who knows he's about to die.
When his socks were taken off, there was a piece of paper basically folded up inside of one of those socks.
It takes a forensic lab weeks to decipher the note.
When it was opened, it was actually a letter from the Cheltenham and Gloucester Building Society to Kenneth Regan at Forge Close.
Kenneth Regan was eventually convicted of all 5 murders, so that's all 5 members of the Chauhan family. He will never be released and he will die in prison.
Regan's henchman, William Hornsey, is also convicted of 5 murders, receiving life without parole. Peter Reese is found guilty of 1 murder and given 23 years.
For me, and I think all the officers that worked on this case, the most disturbing angle is really the brutality that took place. To think that someone could stoop so low as to murder 3 generations of the family purely for financial gain, I think I find the most shocking aspect to this whole murder investigation.
Kenneth Regan never divulged how 3 generations of the Chauhan family were wiped out in one weekend. And he still won't tell where the tiniest generation is buried.
The one issue that police would very much like to resolve is what happened to the 2 small boys, Ravinder and Davinder. Their bodies have never been recovered, and it's a tragic element to this case that they've never been found.
Innocent lives were ended, families destroyed forever. And all for what? A few lousy dollars. The promise of a ransom and a taste for revenge was enough to turn Toby Holt into a killer, while Kenneth Regan made women and children collateral damage in his evil quest for riches. There was a moral line, and the lure of easy money convinced them to cross it, arriving at a pitiless place where they would kill for cash. Till next we meet behind mansion walls, I'm Christopher Mason.
In our first story, Behind Mansion Walls, a bloody corpse.
Imagine going on with your day knowing there's a dead body down in the pool house.
Reveals a doctor's darkest secret.
She was just 15.
And later, sex, power, and politics.
She had been around political power all her life, and she played hard.
It's a deadly mix.
She became the person responsible for his fall from grace.
I'm Christopher Mason. Most modern brides no longer vow to obey their husbands. But behind mansion walls, some rich and powerful men still believe their wealth can command total obedience. And when a woman refuses to bow to her lord and master, the results can be lethal.
Night falls on an exclusive California estate. In the dark, a shadowy figure is frantically searching. 15-year-old Gabriel Pulk
Dad!
is looking for his father, Felix.
Dad, where are you?
They planned to go to a ball game together hours ago, but Dad has disappeared.
Dad?
He went looking for him on the property. He decided to check the pool house, and that's where he made a grisly discovery.
There was blood everywhere. I could see a little bit on the walls. The floor was splattered everywhere. This one, well, it registers as one of the worst cases that I've had to deal with.
Nestled in a valley just 20 minutes from San Francisco lies the picturesque hamlet of Orinda. Named by Forbes as the second friendliest place in the United States. It's certainly one of the most upscale.
That's the type of area where your homes will typically run in the millions. Most of the residents there can be executives. It's just considered a very high society type area. Very quiet, but very influential.
Successful psychologist Felix Pulk has joined Orinda's elite.
Felix was well known in the psychotherapy community. He was very well respected. He did a lot of research in the field, and he had lots of patients who looked up to him and leaned on him for help.
All right, who was it? Go!
Now nearly 70, Felix has forked out nearly $2 million for a sedate slice of rural splendor.
Come on, Kelly!
They lived in a nice house in Orinda. It was 3 stories. It had a pool, had a separate pool house.
Get it!
Lush trees all over the property. It was a very beautiful place to raise a family.
That family includes 3 sons and his wife of almost 20 years, Susan, the perfect partner. Attractive, smart, dutiful, and younger, much younger.
Boys, come on in.
So he's 25 years older than she is. And so this was a very, some would say, very odd relationship, but the two clicked.
October 14th, 2002. While Susan does her usual round of household chores, son Gabriel waits impatiently for his father to come home from work.
You know where he is?
They have a date at the ballpark. But as the afternoon wears on, Felix doesn't return. When he misses dinner, Gabriel is worried.
Gabe called his father's office. There was no answer.
He's not answering his cell phone either.
Have you heard from Dad?
Felix is now 6 hours late. Gabriel knows something's wrong.
Gabe gets worried and he's looking for his dad.
You haven't heard from him at all?
So he starts looking all over the property and he goes into the pool house, and there in the pool house he discovers his father in a massive amount of blood.
Shocked and horrified, Gabriel calls 911 and makes a chilling claim.
My mom shot my dad.
Sergeant Ken Hansen is first on the scene. The years have not dimmed his memory of the horrific sight inside the pool house that night.
Mr. Polk was lying on his back. He was in some shorts, and he was covered in blood, and the scene had copious amounts of blood spread about. It looked like there had been a terrific struggle. It was not a fresh corpse. Mr. Polk had been dead for, my opinion, at the initial site, for several hours.
The police soon discover Gabriel was mistaken. His father wasn't shot. He was stabbed.
There were numerous wounds all over his body, evidence that he had tried to fight back, fight his attacker away. But there were no signs of any gunshot wounds and no signs of the murder weapon. He'd also suffered blunt force trauma to his head.
Wounds on Felix's feet tell of a desperate fight for survival.
Knife wounds in his feet indicated that when he was first stabbed, or during at one point that he was stabbed, he fell back. And the aggressor was still coming at him, and he was trying to kick away the aggressor, and that creates the knife wounds in the feet. So it was considered a very violent death.
Police can't locate a murder weapon, but they do find bloody footprints. A small shoe size, perhaps a woman's or a young man's. Both mother and son are detained for questioning. And detectives wonder, why would Gabriel lie about how his father died?
Is this really necessary?
Was Susan the murderer? Was Gabe the murderer? Was one of them trying to pin the blame on the other?
The mystery deepens when forensics can't find a match for the shoe prints. Then, the victim's car is found at a nearby train station, possibly abandoned by a fleeing killer. Who would want a 70-year-old psychologist dead? A crazed patient, perhaps. But Felix's wife has another theory. In the police interrogation room, a subdued Susan Pulk wonders what happened to her husband.
But we have to do this.
What did happen?
Well, that's what I'm hoping you can tell me what happened.
I did not hear any gunshots. I don't own a firearm. So what has happened to my husband? He is dead?
As far as I know, like, as far as I can tell, yeah. There's a person in that house, in that guest house, that's no longer...
Did my son see him?
I don't know.
I was pretty much there for most of the day. I didn't hear anything.
The question for Susan Pulk is, who has the motive? Who would want her husband dead?
Okay, so it wasn't like there's any loan sharks out to get him or anything like that you know of?
Goodness, no. Okay.
Well, I'm trying to think of everything, what could have happened here.
Well, that's your job. It's not my job.
No.
So I don't know.
All you can do is try to answer my questions as honestly and truthfully as you can.
Well, I am trying to do that, but I didn't kill him.
Who did?
I don't know.
No. Did Gabriel kill him?
Gabriel wouldn't kill his father.
You don't think so?
No, he loves his father.
Susan rules out her son as a suspect, then points the finger overseas to the Israeli Secret Service, Mossad.
He has a friend who I think probably is a Mossad agent because of statements that his friend has made that sort of imply that he is.
She made her husband look like he'd come out of some CIA novel and had ties to the spy world and was a violent, vicious guy.
The good citizens of Orinda, California are reeling after wealthy psychologist Felix Pulk is found dead in his pool house. They're not accustomed to such savagery in America's second friendliest city. And anxious fingers are once again clutching at pearl necklaces when Susan Pulk claims her husband was murdered by foreign spies.
Susan had a lot of intriguing things to say about Felix. She told him that Felix was an agent for the Mossad, the Israeli spy agency, and they had millions of dollars stashed away someplace. And that was a motive for murder.
In her police interview, Susan lifts the veil on her husband's secret world.
My husband had trained, and in his practice, he sees CIA agents, he sees ATF agents, he sees Internal Revenue Service agents, he sees judges, he sees district attorneys. I mean, he knows everybody. I know, for instance, that he turned information over to an Israeli agent that he got from one of his patients because he had a meeting at the house and he did that and he told me that he'd done it.
Was that activity enough to trigger a hit on Felix Pulk? It's an extraordinary tale of international intrigue. But could it possibly be true? Investigators can find nothing to link the psychologist to Israeli spooks. Besides, his murder doesn't look like a cold-blooded professional hit.
This is typical of a domestic violence situation. Usually when a stabbing occurs from one person to another, if it's a stranger, it's maybe one or two. If it's 22 stab wounds, it indicates a severe and intense anger.
Detectives believe the killer is someone much closer to home, and their suspicions deepen when son Gabriel reveals large cracks in the Pulk family portrait.
You think that it's my fault all the time, all the time.
Gabe starts talking about the acrimony that was going on between his parents.
Every time the boys get together here, we're having a good time.
They were in the midst of a nasty divorce,
I don't know what you're doing here anyway.
and Susan Pulk was on the verge of losing everything.
What is your problem?
Police learned that not only had she lost custody of the house, she lost custody of Gabe, and her child support payments were cut.
Oh my God, even
With their marriage unraveling, the couple's feuding escalates. In a sprawling mansion like this, it's easy to find some personal space. So Felix moves into the pool house. Had Susan finally decided to end this marriage without a divorce? A clue comes from the corpse itself. The dead psychologist could hold the key to this case in the palm of his hand.
As they started to do the forensic analysis of the body, they see him clutching, kind of his hand in a clutching motion because of the way he was laying. And they looked, and he had hair in his hands, as if he'd been in an altercation and grabbed someone's hair. The hair was consistent with Susan Pulk's hair.
But even before the forensic evidence comes back, detectives are beginning to feel very confident they have Felix Polk's killer sitting right in front of them.
You need to tell the truth, what happened. You really
I've
do.
told
It's
the
the only
truth.
thing that's really going to help you with this.
That is the truth.
I got to tell you, something happened between you and Felix today. It got out of hand.
No way.
And, well, that's my feeling.
It did not.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
All the evidence suggested, everything points to it.
It didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I did not kill my husband.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
After 2 days of intense questioning, Susan Polk finally confesses to the killing. But she says she acted in self-defense.
So on the night in question, Susan claims that she went to the pool house
Now what do you want?
to discuss the divorce with Felix. And all of a sudden, Felix pepper sprayed her. Felix attacked her with a knife.
She said he was going to kill her, and he had control over her. She was able to stab him with a knife just to get him off of her.
She grabbed the knife in self-defense and killed him to protect herself.
The way Susan tells it, she's freed herself from the clutches of a controlling, abusive monster.
Susan would accuse Felix of all kinds of abuse, physical, mental, psychological, and she would say that he had the ability to rid her of her mental demons, but instead, according to Susan, Felix used his power as a psychotherapist to gain and maintain control over Susan.
She started coming up with wild accusations. He would hypnotize her. He would alienate her from her family. She said he used a lot of mind control techniques on her to get her to do what he wanted to do.
So what's the truth about Felix? Was the psychotherapist just plain psycho? Susan's extraordinary accusations are just the beginning. She's about to reveal the most depraved secret of all.
He had an inappropriate relationship.
Nothing wrong with being pretty.
She was just 15.
Shouldn't feel bad about that. What's been happening at school?
It's 1972. In Berkeley, California.
You can see what you like.
40-year-old Felix Polk is a high-flying psychotherapist, specializing in adolescent psychology.
Well, Felix was so well known and respected that many school districts referred patients and so-called problem children to him.
No one understands me.
Dr. Polk's latest subject is a troubled 15-year-old.
She was kind of an interesting kid. She really loved to read. She was kind of a loner. Had some problems in school because she was such a loner, but extremely bright.
How do you feel about that?
I feel angry.
She was quite intelligent, but she was socially fragile.
Why do you think that is?
She had problems getting to know people, getting to interact with others. That was how she was referred to Dr. Pulk by her school.
But behind closed doors, it seems the good doctor might be interested in more than just therapy.
And they developed a relationship, an inappropriate relationship, and that would be the nicest thing to say about it. She says that they had intimate relations before she was 18.
It's natural. Nothing wrong with being pretty.
So Felix had violated the most sacrosanct of the doctor-patient relationship. You're not supposed to have any intimate relationships with your patients, let alone teenage patients. And at that point, Dr. Pulk was a married father of 3, 40 years old, and she was just 15.
Nothing to beat yourself up about.
That 15-year-old girl went on to become his wife. Susan Pulk claims Felix raped her during those first visits. And those sordid sessions were just the start of decades of abuse.
Susan started to paint a picture of her being the victim, that he was the one who had controlled her, manipulated her, brainwashed her, that he was the source of all her problems.
Despite Susan's allegations, District Attorney Paul Secura has nagging doubts about her self-defense story.
When you look at the pictures of her, you see that there's no wounds. She had one little mark, tiny, tiny little mark. But for the struggle that she had described, she should have had lots of bruising. No cuts from the knife on her hands from when she tried to grab it to defend herself. She had no bruising anywhere.
And if it was self-defense, why didn't she call police immediately? Instead, a day after Felix's death, Susan still acts as though she doesn't have a care in the world.
The next day, she acted like nothing happened. And what's remarkable about it is if you can imagine being in your home and going on with your day knowing there's a dead body down in the pool house that's been butchered, laying there in a pool of blood. Then she goes on and she washes the knife, puts it back in the drawer. She does the laundry, takes the kids to school, makes the lunch, just goes on with her day as if nothing happened.
Even in the police interrogation, Susan Pulk is strangely unemotional.
I did not kill my husband.
Did you put somebody up to it?
Of course not.
No? And I got to tell you, the other thing, you're sitting here, you know, we've been together for an hour now or so, and you don't seem really choked up. You don't seem really upset that he's gone. I find that kind of, I mean, granted.
Very, very, very upset.
Mm-hmm. You do well not showing it.
Perhaps most puzzling, why let her son find his father's body?
I think for her to have her son find his dad in that kind of condition is horrific.
Dad?
It's so unmotherlike that I can't grasp the concept.
For Ken Hansen, one moment from that night sticks in his memory.
I informed Mrs. Polk that I had located her husband and it appeared that he was dead and from unnatural causes. And Mrs. Polk responded to me.
Oh, well, we were going to get divorced anyway.
No emotions. It was like I was telling her the time of day. It chilled me. It made like she had ice running through her veins.
And in the days before his death, Felix was already watching his back.
The police had been out there a number of times to solve domestic disputes. Felix had made a call and said that she'd threatened to kill him. Gabe backed that up and said, yes, I've heard her make threats over the phone that she wanted to kill him. And so that started to lead the police in a particular direction.
Unlike her blood-stained clothes, Susan's story just won't wash. She's charged with murder.
My version is she went down to talk to him. He let her in because he tried to maintain an amicable relationship with her.
Is that you, Susan?
It's me. Who do you think it is?
I think that she pepper sprayed him. And then she hit him on the head with something hard and stunned him and disabled him to some degree. He was a 70-year-old man who wasn't in the best of health. And she was able to gain control of him and stab him multiple times and kill him. I think Felix was scared to death. I mean, we have police reports before where he told the police. We also have statements to his kids that if anything ever happens to me, your mother did this to me.
Perhaps it was Felix's warning that came back to son Gabriel that fateful night.
My mom shot my dad.
The first thing he says is, the first thing he thinks about is, my mother shot my father. That's the first person in his mind that he believes would have killed his father.
But what drove Susan Pulk to murder? The prosecution ties it all back to money and family. Susan was terrified of losing access to her sons, her house, and Dr. Polk's fortune. During her first police interview, the clues to Susan's motives leak out. Felix had gained custody of their son, Gabriel, and had turned her money tap off.
I get this phone call that, guess what? You know, you just lost custody of your son. Your husband has exclusive use of the house, and you get $1,700 a month to live on. I'm like, you've got to be kidding, because I don't have a job, you know, and I mean, my insurance for my car and my car payment alone take up like $800, you know, so what was I going to live on?
I gotta tell you, Susan, it's, you know, right now we have to look at you as possibly doing this, having done this. Do you have the motive? You know, the marital problems going on. I'm sure tempers are not good between you, you know, as in any divorce.
He is my sole source of income.
Mm-hmm.
There is no life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I would not kill my husband. I can't pay the bill.
Well, right now I have to focus on you.
During an extraordinary 5.5-month trial, her sons Gabriel and Adam testify against her.
And these two sons told the jury that she was the abuser, that she was the one who would be upset and belligerent and irrational and unreasonable. And they spoke of threats of violence. They said Susan wanted to hold Felix hostage until he transferred millions of dollars from his account. She had threatened to kill him with a shotgun. She had dreamt of all these ways to kill Felix, her tormentor, the person she believed was responsible and the root of all her problems.
After firing 4 lawyers, Susan conducts her own defense, often clashing with prosecutor Paul Secura.
At one point, she gave me a hard time because I said, when you wash that knife, did you put that knife in the dishwasher, the murder weapon? And she looked at me and she goes, obviously, you've never had fine cutlery. You don't put cutlery like that in the dishwasher. You wash it by hand. You wouldn't know that.
Susan Polk is found guilty of second-degree murder and receives the maximum sentence, 16 years to life.
Susan really believed that Felix was her tormentor, that he was the root cause of all her problems. So I believe the motive was for her to get rid of this problem once and for all. Felix may have had his faults, especially because he chose to have a relationship with his patient, but no one deserves to be murdered brutally.
When money talks, it often expects to be listened to and obeyed. I've seen it many times. Rich men convince their wealth entitles them to total obedience. And it's even more lethal when you combine financial clout with political power. In that case, you either toe the line or wear a toe tag.
They say the early bird gets the worm.
She showed up at work early every single day.
But this ambitious young woman is not the only early riser. Someone is waiting for her.
Her last words were, "No, no, please don't, oh my God."
In a few seconds.
Bang, bang, bang. As quickly as he could pull the trigger.
A life full of promise is blown away.
The whole scene was just splattered with blood.
When people in Kentucky talk about good breeding, they're not always talking about racehorses. 29-year-old Amanda Ross and her fiancé, 56-year-old Stephen Nunn, are pure thoroughbreds, a glamorous couple, rubbing well-tailored shoulders with the pillars of Kentucky society.
They would go to balls. You'd see them at political events. I believe they went to at least one Kentucky Derby.
Amanda and Stephen are products of two of the Bluegrass State's bluest bloodlines.
Amanda Ross was the daughter of a very successful, very influential man, and very wealthy.
Her late father, Terrell Ross, was a powerful local financier who wielded political clout. His feisty Democrat daughter believes she too has what it takes to be a success in politics.
Amanda Ross showed such work ethic and potential. She potentially could have been a political powerhouse in her own right.
She had been around political power all her life, and she played hard, but she worked. She didn't play on the idea that she came from wealth. She worked hard.
As for her fiancé, well, when it comes to Kentucky politics, names don't come much bigger than his. When Stephen was a teenager, he called this lavish building home, the governor's mansion in Lexington, where for 4 years his famous father ran the state of Kentucky.
You can't really talk about Steve Nunn without talking about his father, Louis B. Nunn. Louis B. Nunn was kind of a larger-than-life figure. He was the only Republican elected as Kentucky's governor from 1947 to 2003.
His father was a great big man, tall, kind of had a commanding presence.
Though he died in 2004, Louis still casts a long shadow over Kentucky politics. Son Stephen has worked hard to make his own name as a legislator and an outspoken crusader against domestic violence.
Absolutely.
Steve actually had sponsored a state law that made it a death penalty offense to kill somebody who has a domestic violence order out against you.
Amanda Ross finds that kind of political conviction very attractive. Despite the age gap and the fact that they come from opposite sides of politics, the couple has the world at their feet. But in the time it takes to squeeze a trigger, that will all change.
There was a shriek, and she says, "Don't do it."
In the fiery partisan atmosphere of Washington, D.C., some Republicans and Democrats barely give each other the time of day. But while they may clash over tax breaks or immigration, politicians of every stripe are fluent in one common language, the mother tongue of power and influence.
In Kentucky, Republican Senator Stephen Nunn and dyed-in-the-wool Democrat Amanda Ross are doing more than reaching across the aisle. They are proof that politics makes for strange bedfellows.
The two were very similar. They both liked to drink and socialize. The folks who interacted with Steve Nunn and Amanda Ross as a couple seemed to think that they were a good fit for each other.
Such a good fit, in fact. Amanda is adding to Stephen's bulging collection of private pornography.
He was collecting photos of women with whom he'd been in relationships with.
Cute Southern Belle.
The nude photos that Steve Nunn collected included photos of Amanda Ross.
Beautiful. Grab the pillow, something cute.
But she's more than just another page of flesh in Steve's scrapbook. She could turn out to be his savior. Before meeting Amanda, Stephen's career had stalled. In 2003, he failed to emulate his father and lost the Republican nomination for governor. Then, in 2006, he lost his seat in the state legislature. Louis Nunn's legacy was starting to weigh heavily.
There was that pressure of living up to his father's expectations and quite possibly a sense of failure.
I think Steve Nunn certainly felt that his father didn't approve of the job that he had done.
With his career in freefall, Stephen's private life also begins to spiral.
Drinking very heavily, abusing substances, and generally suffering from depression.
But after meeting Amanda in 2007, his fortunes have turned around. A plum government position in the Department of Health, and a wedding on the horizon. It seems the dark days are over. September 11th, 2009. It's 6:30 a.m. Just as she does most days, Amanda Ross leaves early for work.
It was a Friday morning. People were starting to get up and get ready for work. No one was really outside.
She walks straight into an ambush.
Amanda was walking to her car. When she was about halfway there, an unknown subject came out of the shadows.
She was dead right there in the parking lot.
The killer vanishes as quickly as he appeared. There are no eyewitnesses. A young woman gunned down in cold blood. To Detective Rob Wilson, it just doesn't make sense.
You look for an obvious motive. There's a sexual assault or a robbery. There was obviously no sign of any sexual assault. Miss Ross's purse and valuables were still at the scene, so we didn't believe this was going to be a case of a robbery, which led us to believe that this was more of a personal crime or a personal vendetta against Miss Ross.
Amanda had filed a harassment case against a work colleague. Was that a motive for murder? Or maybe it's payback for her fiancé's tough stance on domestic violence. The murder investigation takes a sudden turn when detectives discover Amanda Ross had taken out her own restraining order.
There was a domestic violence order issued against Steve Nunn.
Really good night.
It seems that behind closed doors, the perfect couple was anything but.
The relationship had deteriorated.
I'd like to go out for some chicken wings.
Want me to take out? What's wrong with staying here?
Mr. Nunn's relationship with Miss Ross seemed pretty volatile, one of those love-hate relationships as much as we can determine. They had a lot of fun together from what we've been told, and they also had some pretty harsh falling outs.
Stephen and Amanda were drinking heavily. Their alcohol-fueled arguments escalated to the point where a simple disagreement over dinner turned violent.
Steve and Amanda had gotten into an argument, and he was trying to leave the house, and she would not permit him to leave.
I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it.
and that's what led to the confrontation.
Stephen is charged with domestic violence. For a noted campaigner against domestic violence, the fallout is catastrophic. Not only does he lose his girl, Stephen Nunn's newly resurrected career crumbles overnight.
That was the beginning of the end for his career, because a domestic violence order, it sounds real bad. Think about that. It sounds bad, and it is bad. A governor can't have that kind of a thing on his record.
Alone, with no job, and his reputation in tatters, Stephen hits both the bottle and new lows, trawling the internet for sex.
He had a profile on a website, essentially a website meant to hook up men with means with young women. He'd used that website to meet at least 2 prostitutes, and this is something that was known to his friends, that he was engaging in prostitution.
According to journalist Josh Kegley, Stephen's behavior grew more and more erratic.
The nude photos of Amanda Ross, he would try to show off these photos to his friends, which made them understandably very uncomfortable. 6 months after this domestic violence incident, he still possessed these pictures and that he was trying to show them to people.
In Stephen's booze-soaked mind, he blames the woman in the photos for his downfall. Resentment burns.
He lost his job, he was embarrassed, and instead of looking inward and how to improve himself, it all turned towards anger towards Miss Ross. She became the person responsible for his fall from grace.
He was very angry at Amanda Ross. So angry, and he told friends that he was going to seek revenge for what she did to him.
Just 2 days before she died, a terrified Amanda confided in her friends. She didn't believe the domestic violence order would protect her from Stephen's rage.
She was very scared of Steve Nunn. She fully thought that he was going to kill her. She told her friends that he was going to kill her, but they believed that she was being dramatic.
She was convinced that Steve Nunn would kill her. And he did. She was right.
It didn't take us long to find out that Miss Ross had a domestic violence order against Mr. Nunn. At that point, we attempted to locate Mr. Nunn's whereabouts.
But Stephen Nunn has disappeared. And the manhunt is about to take a turn for the macabre.
He put his date of death on the headstone.
In a Kentucky cemetery, a lone figure staggers among the headstones. Still clutching the handgun he used to shoot his ex-fiancée, a desperate Stephen Nunn decides to end it all at the grave of the father he could never live up to.
He had chosen that place to end his own life. We believe that he had intended that was going to be his resting place.
But police get tipped off.
The Lexington police began looking for him. And then everybody started looking for him. Somebody that had known him said, well, I know where he'll be. He'll be out at his dad's grave.
As they close in, Steve raises the gun.
I don't
He had 1 round remaining in the revolver that was used to kill Amanda Ross. He fired that round as police approached him.
Stephen Nunn might be a dismal failure in most areas of his life, but he certainly has a flair for the dramatic. So sure is he as to how this tragic melodrama will end, he's ordered the final act to be written in stone, his tombstone.
Mr. Nunn had contacted a monument company and requested that his tombstone be made.
The death date was going to be that day, the day that he killed Amanda Ross.
Steve Nunn knew the date of his death.
But he's wasted his money. Unable to kill himself, Nunn hopes the cops will do it for him. But they don't follow the script.
It was an attempt to commit suicide by cop, essentially firing the gun and having the police return fire, which did not happen.
With no rounds left, Stephen finally surrenders.
In my opinion, Mr. Nunn exposed himself for what he truly is, a coward. I think his plan that date was to murder Amanda Ross, then turn the gun on himself. But when push came to shove, he couldn't do it because he's a coward.
Police find incriminating evidence in Stephen's car. A folder containing the nude photos of Amanda Ross and a rambling 7-page letter blaming her for ruining his life.
Not once did he show any remorse whatsoever. In fact, it was still more about him. He made the comments that when all this was done, he was going to write a book, and it was going to be titled, "She Killed Me First."
In a cruel twist, Stephen Nunn now faces execution under the same domestic violence laws he introduced.
When Mr. Nunn was a legislator, he was able to push through a bill that made violation of a DVO in the course of a murder a death penalty case.
It is ironic that he got, what do we call that, hoisted on his own petard.
To save his own neck, he offers to plead guilty in exchange for a prison sentence. Deciding they can't face a drawn-out trial, Amanda's heartbroken family accepts.
Amanda's mother did not want to listen to her daughter's reputation being dragged through the mud.
In June 2011, Stephen Nunn pleads guilty to murder.
He's sentenced to life in the penitentiary without the possibility of parole. He'll die in prison.
It's sometimes said that from great evil, some good must come. In April 2010, just 7 months after Stephen Nunn's evil act, the state of Kentucky passes a new domestic violence bill. It's known simply as Amanda's Law.
Miss Ross's family started pushing legislators for what's now known as Amanda's Law, which would mandate electronic monitoring on individuals who have been served with a domestic violence order.
Amanda Ross inspired these positive changes for domestic violence victims, and her family has said publicly that they think she would be honored by that.
Everybody uses this term closure. Well, that's bull. There's no such thing as closure in a homicide case. There's a hole in Amanda's mother's heart that will never be filled. Most times, the last thing they think about before they go to sleep at night is her daughter laying in a cold parking lot. He's in prison for the rest of his life, and he deserves it.
When a woman tries to escape the shackles of a domineering partner, sometimes the only thing to break loose is hell. Desperation drove Susan Pulk to murder her husband, exposing his darkest secret, while Stephen Nunn became drunk on power and thirsty for revenge. With great wealth sometimes comes an all-consuming desire for control, and wives who rebel can wind up paying in blood for defying their lord and master. Till next we meet behind mansion walls, I'm Christopher Mason.